All right. Got my noodle stuff cooking. So let's go ahead and get another reading started. So let's go back. So 21, so 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 2 Samuel 22 to 24. And then 1 Kings 1 through 6. Let me just confirm that. Yep, AV33. Nice. So 2 Samuel 22. Okay. And David spoke to Jehovah the words of this song in the day that Jehovah rescued him out of the hand of all his enemies and out of Saul's hand. He said, Jehovah is my crag and my stronghold and the one who rescues me. My God is my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield and my horn of salvation, my secure refuge, and my place to flee, my Savior, you who save me from violence. I call on Jehovah who is worthy of praise, and I will be saved from my enemies. The waves of death broke all around me, flash floods of worthless men terrified me. The ropes of the grave surrounded me, the snares of death confronted me. In my distress I called on Jehovah, to my God I kept calling. Then from his temple he heard my voice, and my cry for help he reached his ears. Back and forth the earth began to shake and rock, the foundations of the heavens trembled, and shook back and forth because he had been angered. Smoke ascended from his nostrils, and a consuming fire came from his mouth. Glowing coals blazed from him. He made the heavens bend as he descended, and thick gloom was beneath his feet. He rode on a cherub and came flying. He was visible on the wings of a spirit. Then he put darkness around him as a shelter, and dark waters and thick clouds. From the brightness before him, Jehovah's fiery coals blazed. Then Jehovah began to thunder from heaven. The Most High made his voice heard. He shot his arrows and scattered them, lightning, and he threw them into confusion. The bed of the sea became visible. The foundations of the land were exposed by the rebuke of Jehovah, by the blast of the breath from his nostrils. He reached down from on high. He took hold of me and pulled me from deep waters. He rescued me from my strong enemy, from those hating me who were stronger than I was. They confronted me on the day of my disaster, but Jehovah was my support. He brought me out into a piece of safety. He rescued me because he was pleased with me. Jehovah rewards me according to my righteousness. He repays me according to the innocence of my hands. For I have kept the ways of Jehovah, and I have not wickedly abandoned my God. All his judgments are before me. I will not deviate from his statutes. I will remain blameless before him, and I will keep myself from error. May Jehovah repay me according to my righteousness, according to my innocence before him. With someone loyal, you act loyalty. With blameless, mighty man, you deal blamelessly. With the pure, you show up. With the pure, you show yourself pure. With the crooked, you show yourself shrewd. For you save those who are humble, but your eyes are against the haughty, and you abase them. For you are my lamp, O Jehovah. It is Jehovah who lights up my darkness. With your help, I can charge against a marauder band. By God's power, I can scale a wall. The way of the true God is perfect. The saying of Jehovah is refined. He is a shield to all those taking refuge in him. For who is God, a God beside Jehovah? And who is a rock except our God? The true God is my strong fortress, and he will make my way perfect. He makes my feet like those of a deer. He makes me stand on high places. He trains my hands for warfare. My arms can bend a bow of copper. You give me your shield of salvation, and your humility makes me great. You widen the path for my footsteps. My feet will not slip. I will pursue my enemies and annihilate them. I will not return until they are wiped out. And I will wipe them out and crush them, so that they will not rise up. They will fall under my feet. You will equip me with strength for the battle. You will make my foes collapse under me. You will make my enemies retreat from me, and I will put an end to those who hate me. They will cry for help, but there is no one to save them. They even cry to Jehovah, but he does not answer them. I will pound them as fine as the dust of the earth. I will pulverize and trample them like mud in the streets. You will rescue me from the false finding of my people, You will safeguard me from the head of nations. A people whom I have not known will serve me. Foreigners will come cringing before me. What they hear about me will make them obey me. Foreigners will lose courage. They will come trembling from their strongholds. Jehovah is alive. Praise be my rock. Let the God of the rock be my salvation. Be my or sorry of my salvation be exalted. The true God executes vengeance for me. He subdues the people under me. He rescues me from my enemies. You lift me high above those who attack me. You save me from the man of violence. That is why I will thank you, Jehovah, O Jehovah, among the nations. And your name I will sing praises. To your name I will sing praises. He performs great acts of salvation for his king. He displays loyal love to his anointed one, to David and his offspring forever. 2 Samuel 23. These are the last words of David, the words of David, the son of Jesse, and the word of the man who was raised on high, the anointed of God of Jacob, the pleasant singer of the God songs of Israel. The Spirit of Jehovah spoke through me. His word was on my tongue. The God of Israel spoke. To me, the rock of Israel said, when the one ruling over mankind is righteous, ruling in the fear of God, it is like the morning light when the sun shines, a morning without clouds. It is like the brightness after the rain, making grass sprout from the earth. It is not my house like that before God, for he has made an eternal covenant with me, arranged in every detail and secured, because it means my complete salvation and all my delight. Is that not why he makes it flourish? But worthless men are all thrown away like thorn bushes, for they cannot be taken with the hand. When a man touches them, he should be fully armed with iron and shaft of a spear, and they should be completely burned up with fire in their place. These are the names of David's mighty warriors. Josheb-Basshebeth, a Tachemonite, the head of the three. He brandished his spear over 800 had slain at one time. Next to him, Eleazar, the son of Dodo, the son of Ahihi, who was among the three mighty warriors with David when they taunted the Philistines. They had gathered there for the battle, and when the men of Israel retreated, he stood his ground and kept striking down the Philistines until his arm grew weary and his hand became stiff from gripping the sword. So Jehovah brought about a great victory on that day, and the people returned behind him to strip the slain. Next to him was Shammah, the son of Agi, the Hararite. The Philistines gathered together at Lehi, where there was a plot of land full of lentils, and the people fled because of the Philistines. But he took his stand in the middle of the field and defended it, and kept striking down the Philistines, so that Jehovah brought about a great victory. 3 of the 30 headmen went down during the harvest to David at the cave of Adullam, and the company of the Philistines was camped in the valley of Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and an outpost of the Philistines was in Bethlehem. Then David expressed his longing, if only I could have a drink of water from the cistern by the gate of Bethlehem. At that, the three mighty warriors forced their way into the camp of the Philistines and drew water from the cistern by the gate of Bethlehem and brought it to David. But he refused to drink it and poured it out to Jehovah. He said, it is unthinkable on my part, O Jehovah, that I should do this. Should I drink the blood of the men going at the risk of their lives? So he refused to drink it. These are the things that his three mighty warriors did. Abishai, the brother of Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was the head of another three. He brandished his spear over 300 slain, and he had a reputation like the three. Although he was the most distinguished of the other three, although he was the most distinguished of the other three, and he was their chief, he did not attain to the rank of the first three. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, who was a courageous man who performed many exploits in Kabzeel. He struck down the two sons of Ariel of Moab, and he descended into the water pit of a snowy day and killed a lion. He also struck down an Egyptian man of extraordinary size. Though the Egyptian had a spear in his hand, he went against him with a rod and snatched the spear away from the Egyptian's hand and killed him with his own spear. These things Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, did, and he had a reputation like that of the three mighty warriors. Although he was distinguished even more than the 30, he did not attain to the rank of the three. However, David appointed him over his own bodyguard. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was among the 30. Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem, Shammah the Haradite, Elika the Haradite, Helez the Paltite, Ira the son of Ikesh the Tekoite, Abiezer the Anathothite, Mebunai the Hushathite, Zalmon the Ahuthite, Maharai the Netophathite, Heleb the son of Baana the Netophathite, Ittai the son of Ribai of Gibeah of the Benjaminites, Benaiah a Parathonite, Hiddai of the Wadis of Gadash, Abialban, the Arbathite, Asmaveth, the Barhamite, Elihabah, the Shealbanite, the sons of Jashin, Jonathan, Shammah, the Hararite, Ahiam, the son of Sharar, the Hararite, Eliphalet, the son of Ahasbai, the son of the Maakathite, Eliam, the son of Ahithophel, the Gilonite, Hezro of the Carmelite, Paarai, the Arbite, Egal, the son of Nathan of Zobah, Bani, the Gadite, Zelek, the Ammonite, Naharai, the Beerothite, the armor-bearer of Joab, the son of Zeruiah, Ira, the Itherite, Gareb, the Ithrite, and Uriah, the Hittite, 37 in all. 2 Samuel 24. The anger of Jehovah again blazed against Israel when one incited David against them, saying, "Go take account of Israel and Judah." So the king said to Joab, the chief of the army who was with him, "Please go through all the tribes of Israel from Dan to Beersheba and register the people so that I may know the number of the people." But Joab said to the king, "May Jehovah your God multiply the people 100 times, and may the eyes of my lord the king see it. But why does my lord the king want to do such a thing?" But the king's word prevailed over Joab and the chiefs of the army. So Joab and the chiefs of the army went out from before the king to register the people of Israel. They crossed the Jordan and camped at Aroer to the right of the city in the middle of the valley, and they went toward the Gadites to Jazer. After that, they went on to Gilead and the land of Tatim Hodshi and continued to Danjaan and went around to Sidon. Then they went to the fortress of Tyre and all the cities of the Hivites and of the Canaanites, and finally they ended up in the Negev of Judah at Beersheba. Thus they went through all the land, and came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. Joab now gave to the king the number of the people who were registered. Israel amounted to 500,000 warriors armed with swords, and the men of Judah were 500,000. But David's heart was struck with remorse. After he had numbered the people, David then said to Jehovah, "I have sinned greatly by doing this, and now, Jehovah, please forgive your servant's error, for I have acted very foolishly." When David got up in the morning, Jehovah's word came to Gad the prophet, David's visionary, saying, "Go and say to David, this is what Jehovah says. I'm giving you 3 options. Choose the one that I should bring on you." So Gad came in to David and told him, "Should 7 years of famine come on your land? Or should you flee for 3 months from your adversaries while they pursue you? Or should there be 3 days of pestilence in your land? Now consider carefully what I should reply to the one who sent me." So David said to Gad, "It is very distressing to me. Let us fall, please, into the hand of Jehovah, for his mercy is great. But do not let me fall into the hand of man." Then Jehovah sent a pestilence on Israel from the morning until the designated time, so that 70,000 of the people from Dan to Beersheba died. When the angel stretched out his hand toward Jerusalem to destroy it, Jehovah felt regret over the calamity, and he said to the angel bringing destruction among the people, "It is enough. Now let your hand drop." Jehovah's angel was close to the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. When David saw the angel who was striking the people down, he said to Jehovah, "I am the one who sinned, and I am the one who did wrong. But these sheep, what have they done? Let your hand please come against me and my father's house." So Gad came in to David on that day and said to him, "Go up, set up for Jehovah an altar on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite." So David went up at the word of Gad, as Jehovah had commanded. When Araunah looked down and saw the king and his servants coming toward him, Araunah immediately went down and bowed down to the king with his face to the ground. Araunah asked, "Why has my lord the king come to his servant?" David replied, "To buy from you the threshing floor in order to build an altar to Jehovah, so that the scourge against the people may be halted." But Araunah said to David, "Let my lord the king take it and offer up what seems good to him. Here are cattle for the burnt offering, and the threshing sledge of the equipment of the cattle for the wood. All of this, O king," Araunah gives to the king. Then Araunah said to the king, "May Jehovah your God show you favor." However, the king said to Araunah, "No, I must buy it from you for a price. I will not offer up to Jehovah my God burnt sacrifices that cost me nothing." So David bought the threshing floor and the cattle for 50 silver shekels, and David built an altar there to Jehovah and offered up burnt sacrifices and communion sacrifices. Jehovah then responded to the entreaty for the land, and the scourge against Israel was halted. Okay, I'm going to pause. All right, let's get this rolling. Get that already. All right, that's the end of 2 Samuel. 1 Kings. I didn't end up showing this off. Let's go to Google Keep real quick. It's this one. Trying to set a baseline. That's basically the thing. Started the second day. 10-12. Yeah. Get a little cursive practice. And then how I'm going to split off, how I'm going to level up the Bible reading. So just before I get back into it. So this is my Bible AV series where I just read 9 chapters at a time and then upload a video of it. So right now I'm on, I think, 33 or 34. And so I'm about a third of the way done. But once I'm finished, then I'm going to go back and do a 3-part, like a sort of like a Trinity kind of series. However, the first one, just pull this up real quick. This here, let's go. This one is yes, A, and then these two. Because these are both the same thing. These are transcribing. Okay. That should do it. So that's kind of the plan for that. And then when I get back into the OpenStack stuff, I'm going to go ahead and do that again. But for I'm going to branch off from there. Okay. All right, Kings 1. 1 Kings 1. Now King David was old, advanced in years. And although they would cover him with garments, he could not get warm. So his servant said to him, "Let a girl, a virgin, be found for my lord the king, and she will wait on the king as his nurse. She will lie in your arms so that my lord the king may feel warm." They searched throughout all the territory of Israel for a beautiful girl, and they found Abishag, the Shunammite, and brought her into the king. The girl was extremely beautiful, and she became the king's nurse and waited on him. But the king did not have sexual relations with her. Meanwhile, Adonijah, the son of Haggith, was exalting himself, saying, I am going to be king. He had a chariot made for himself with horsemen and 50 men to run before him. But his father had never confronted him by saying, Why have you done this? He was also very handsome, and his mother had given birth to him after Absalom. He conferred with Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and Abiathar, the priest, and they offered Adonijah help and support. But Zadok, the priest, Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, Nathan, the prophet, Shimei, Rei, and David's mighty warriors did not support Adonijah. Eventually, Adonijah held a sacrifice of sheep, cattle, and fattened animals by the stone of Zeheleth, which is near Enrogel, and he invited all his brothers, the king's sons, and all the men of Judah, the king's servants. But he did not invite Nathan the prophet, Benaiah, and the mighty warriors, or Solomon, his brother. Nathan then said to Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, Have you not heard that Adonijah, the son of Haggith, has become king, and our lord David does not know anything about it? So now come, please, and let me advise you, so that you may save your own life and the life of your son Solomon. Go in to King David and say to him, Was it not you, my lord king, who swore your servant, saying, Your son Solomon will become king after me, and he is the one who will sit on my throne? So why has Adonijah become king? While you are still there speaking with the king, I will come in after you and confirm your words. So Bathsheba went into the king into his private room. The king was very old, and Abishag, the Shunammite, was waiting on the king. Then Bathsheba bowed low, and prostrated herself to the king. And the king said, What is your request? She replied, My lord, it was you who swore by Jehovah your God to your servant, Your son Solomon will become king after me, and he is the one who will sit on my throne. But look, Adonijah has become king, and my lord the king does not know anything about it. He sacrificed bulls, fattened animals, and sheep in great quantity, and invited all the sons of the king and Abiathar, the priest, and Joab, the chief of the army. But he did not invite your servant Solomon. And now, my lord the king, the eyes of all Israel are upon you to tell them who will sit on the throne of my lord the king after him. Otherwise, as soon as my lord the king is laid to rest with his forefathers, I and also my son Solomon will be considered traitors. And while she was still speaking to the king, Nathan the prophet came in. At once the king was told, Here is Nathan the prophet. He came in before the king and prostrated himself to the king with his face to the ground. Then Nathan said, My lord the king, did you say Adonijah will become king after me, and he is the one who will sit on my throne? For today he has gone down to sacrifice bulls, fattened animals, and sheep in great quantity, and he has invited all the sons of the king and the chiefs of the army and Abiathar the priest. They are there eating and drinking with him, and they keep saying, Long live King Adonijah. But he did not invite me, your servant, or Zadok the priest, or Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, or your servant Solomon. Has my lord the king authorized this without telling your servant who should sit on the throne of my lord the king after him? King David now answered, Call Bathsheba for me. At that she came in and stood before the king. The king then swore an oath, As surely as Jehovah is living, the one who rescued me out of all distress, just as I swore to you by Jehovah the God of Israel, saying, Your son Solomon will become king after me, and he is the one who will sit on my throne in my place. That is what I will bring about this day. Then Bathsheba bowed low with her face to the ground and prostrated herself to the king and said, May the Lord, King David, live forever. Immediately King David said, Call for me Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada. So they came in before the king. The king said to them, Take with you the servants of your lord, and have my son Solomon ride on my own mule, and lead him down to Gihon. Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet will anoint him there as king over Israel, and then blow the horn and say, Long live King Solomon. Then follow him back, and he will come and sit on my throne, and he will be king in my place, and I will commission him as leader over Israel and over Judah. At once Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, said to the king, Amen. May Jehovah the God of the Lord of my Lord The king confirm it. Just as Jehovah was with my lord the king, so let him be with Solomon, and may he take his throne greater than the throne of my lord King David. Oh gosh, sorry, my belly felt really full. I wanted to read at least like 2 more sections, but I had to get on my dialysis a little early. That's all right. I'm getting really close to my ideal schedule. I have a few more hiccups that I need to resolve, but I should be able to get there within the next couple of months, I think, at the rate that I've been going at. Because I'm up and I'm productive in my way, but I have other things that I need to be doing. So Bible first. Sorry for the intermission, but I like to get some of these big thoughts out so that way I just don't forget. So once I'm done with the Bible, that was like my big thing that I've been wanting to read for the last couple of years. So that will be sort of the key. But because I'm not going in too much depth with it, I'm only going to get a certain amount out of it. So I've gotten a lot. It's helped me think through a lot of these things. But once I've unlocked the next series of Bible readings, that'll also unlock video of myself. I'll start recording myself. Right now I'm sort of in the mode, but I'd like to start adding a little section of the screen for my face, just so that there's like another perspective just kind of showing what I'm doing. It's kind of like the mirror reflection, I guess, because it's the same distance away as what I'm reading. So, and then maybe in another corner for notes, but I'll have it playing through another screen. Maybe I'll use Discord or something, and I'll have a share screen just sort of on this lower right. So like I'm thinking maybe right here where the king's outline is showing, that'll be just kind of handwriting like notes and stuff, and typing maybe. Maybe I'll have it like divided into 2 segments or something. I don't know. I just got to figure out how I want to organize it so that way I could just grind. And then like up here, I was thinking maybe like in this area, this could just be like my face. And then it just shows me reading, and you can see the eyes kind of tracking. And then maybe I could play around with that. I could do maybe some eye tracking and see if maybe there's a way to see if I can fine tune some sort of scanner to track my eyes so fine that it's actually reading the letters of what I'm. I don't know. We'll see. Sounds interesting. There's a lot of cool things I can think about, but I'm not ready for a lot of that stuff. But the Bible is the number one thing. I need to get that done. That I've been talking about that for a few months now. I should have been done with it by now. So, all right. Resume. Then Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Kerethites and the Pelethites went down and had Solomon ride on the mule of King David. And they brought him to Gihon. Zadok the priest now took the horn of oil out of the tent and anointed Solomon. And they began to blow the horn, and all the people began shouting, "Long live King Solomon!" After that, all the people followed him and went up, playing flutes and rejoicing greatly, so that the earth was split open by their noise. Adonijah and all those invited by him heard it, and when they had finished eating. As soon as Joab heard the sound of the horn, he said, "Why is there such a noisy uproar in the city?" While he was still speaking, Jonathan, the son of Abiathar, the priest, came. Then Adonijah said, "Come in, for you are a good man, and you must bring good news." But Jonathan answered for Adonijah, "No, our Lord King David has made Solomon king." The king went with him, Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Kerethites and the Pelethites, and they had him ride on the mule of the king. Pause. Um, so my name's Nathan, and I've noticed it's a sign to pay attention to things that I notice. And I kind of want to look up this guy. He seems like a pretty cool guy. He stuck with the original King David. So it's interesting. Okay. After that, they came up from there, rejoicing, and the city was in an uproar. That was the noise that you heard. Moreover, Solomon has sat down on the royal throne. Another thing, the servants of the king have come in to congratulate our Lord King David, saying, May our God make Solomon's name more splendid than your name, and may he make his throne greater than your throne. At that, the king bowed down on the bed. And the king also said, May Jehovah the God of Israel be praised, who today has granted someone to sit on my throne and has allowed my own eyes to see it. And all those invited by Adonijah became terrified, and each of them rose up and went his own way. Adonijah was so afraid because of Solomon, so he got up and went and grabbed hold of the horns of the altar. Oh, gosh. I need to pause the dream for a minute. I feel so much better. Okay. So, you're told. Report was made to Solomon. Here Adonijah has become afraid of King Solomon, and he has taken hold of the horns of the altar, saying, Let King Solomon first swear to me that he will not put his servant to death by the sword. To this Solomon said, If he behaves in a worthy manner, not a single hair of his will fall to the ground. But if what is bad is found in him, he will have to die. So King Solomon sent for him, and he brought down the altar. So he came in and bowed down to King Solomon, after which Solomon said to him, Go to your own house. Ooh. 1 Kings 2. When the time of David's death drew near, he gave his son Solomon these instructions. I am about to die, therefore be strong and prove yourself a man. You must keep your obligation to Jehovah, your God, by walking in his ways and by observing his statutes, his commandments, his judgments, and his reminders as they are written in the law of Moses. Then you will succeed in everything you do and everywhere you turn. And Jehovah will carry out his promise that he made concerning me. If your sons pay attention to their way by walking faithfully before me with all their heart and soul, there will never fail to be a man of your line sitting on the throne of Israel. You will also know that Joab the son of Zeruiah did to me what Joab the son of Zeruiah did to me, what he did to two chiefs of the armies of Israel, Abner the son of Ner and Amasa the son of Jether. He killed them, shedding the blood of war in peacetime, and the blood of war on the belt around his waist and on the sandals of his feet. You must act according to your wisdom and not let his gray hairs go down in peace to the grave. But toward the sons of Barzillai, the Gileadite, you should show loyal love, and they should be among those eating at your table. For that was how they stood by me, when I ran away from your brother Absalom. There is also with you Shimei, the son of Gerah, the Benjaminite, from Bahurim. He was the one who cursed me with the vicious curse on the day that I was going to Mahanaim. But when he came down to meet me at the Jordan, I swore to him by Jehovah, I will not put you to death by the sword. Now do not leave him unpunished, for you are a wise man, and you know what you should do to him. But you must bring his gray hairs down to the grave with blood. Then David was laid to rest with his forefathers and was buried in the city of David. The length of David's reign over Israel was 40 years. In Hebron, he reigned for 7 years, and in Jerusalem, he reigned for 33 years. Solomon then sat down on the throne of David, his father, and gradually his kingship became firmly established. In time, Adonijah, the son of Haggith, came to Bathsheba, Solomon's mother. She asked, Is your coming peaceable? He replied, It is peaceable. He then said, I have something to say to you. So she said, Speak. He continued, You well know that the kingship was to become mine, and all Israel expected me to become king. But the kingship eluded me and became my brother's, for it was from Jehovah that it became his. But now there is just one request that I am making of you. Do not turn me away. So she said to him, Speak. He then said, Please ask Solomon the king, for he will not turn you away to give me Abishag, the Shunammite, as a wife. To this Bathsheba said, Very well, I will speak for you to the king. Pause. I just I think I just figured out a way to explain how I want to do this. I think the reason I'm having a hard time right now is because my mind is in three places: the past, the present, and the future. Basically, I'm using past emotions, past skills, past experiences, and all of past, past time that I've devoted into kind of honing what I have now to improve myself so that way I can do the things that I want to be doing in the future. Um, I want to be a teacher, but not like a teacher that requires a degree, that requires certification. Because really, none of that is really necessary to teach. If I wanted to teach somebody, I just have to be able to demonstrate to somebody and create a like I did for one of the companies I worked for. I created a standard operating procedure (SOP) um, for a process that I was responsible for that no one else really knew how to do. Um, and so over a few months, I typed that guy out and trained my replacement before I went off to college. But like any good teacher can make any good learner. So when I say good learner, a good learner is just someone who wants to learn, someone who will keep trying until they get it, even if it stresses them out. But that's the thing. Failure is what leads to success every time. Failure always leads to success. And right now, I'm about 2 years into making successful decisions, more successful decisions than unsuccessful decisions. I still make unsuccessful decisions all the time, but that's the point. The point is, if I don't know something, so a lot of what I've been doing has been pretty random up to this point, but fairly organized. Like I know what I want to do, but because I'm doing what I want to be doing, it's bringing up more things that I want to do, and I keep having a hard time kind of congregating things separately in the way they need to be separated. And so because I'm in the process, thinking about the completion of the process, it feels like I'm already done. And so that's where the willpower, that's where the desire, the desire to just keep pushing through this has me going, because I know I haven't physically done it. Mentally, I have done it. And it's just really difficult for someone who's just usually unable to focus for long periods of time. As you can see, I'm always pausing and taking a moment and stuff, but that's just kind of how it is. And so I just got to deal with it. But I know once I complete this will put me in a really good position to where I need to be. I need to stop being in such a rush. I think that's one of the hard things. Is I spent pretty much all of my life being in a rush, and the last year I have just been calm and patient, and like I've been rushed a few times, but so much less than I'm used to. That's what stress seems to do. It's like you look at the president of the United States, they always go from young to old within 4 years. And it's like, why would anyone want to accelerate their life like that? I read that 46 years old was when one of the most famous men on the planet to ever existed, Leonardo da Vinci, whether he's real or not, sounds like he is, but dude was sounded scattered and all over the place, but was always working hard, was always doing something. And that's really what my goal is. Like, We write about all these people in textbooks and talk about how great they are. We glorify them like they're gods. But they were just men doing hobbies, having hobbies. They were just having a good time. And then today is like, oh, you're a nerd for wanting to do that stuff. And it's like, bro, that's how mad science happens. Mad science is like, that's my jam. Just everything, there's too many rules and everything. Too, it doesn't get you to think. So it's so closed-minded. And I get like being too open-minded is a bad thing, but being too closed-minded is just as bad, if not worse. Because at least when you're too open-minded, you don't know any better. When you're too closed-minded, you should know better. But anywho, sorry, rant. Just when I read, when I had to like really get into the zone like this, my brain is just like it just functions so optimally. If I can get the rest of my body to function optimally like that and stop being lazy and actually start working out more often, I'll get there. It's been 2 years of slow improvement. I will get there. I said 5. I said I would do it in 5 years. Maybe this is just punishment for talking too soon. But that's all right. I can wait. I'm patient. I've suffered a lot, quite a long time. I can suffer for a much longer time. All right, let's go. Unpause. Just kidding. Oh no! I liked that song. That was a Lord of the Rings song. Neef and Reiki. Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth ambience by Ambient Worlds. All right, back to Kings. In time, Adonijah, the son of Haggith, came to Bathsheba, Solomon's mother. She asked, "Is your coming peaceable?" He replied, "It is peaceable." He then said, "I have something to say to you." Oh, okay, time to start filling up again. He then said, "I have something to say to you." So she said, "Speak." He continued, "You well know that the kingship was to become mine, and all Israel expected me to become king. But the kingship eluded me and became my brother's, for it was from Jehovah that it became his. But now there is just one request that I am making of you. Do not turn me away." So she said to him, "Speak." And then he then said, "Please ask Solomon the king, for he will not turn you away, to give me Abishag, the Shunammite, as a wife." To this Bathsheba said, "Very well, I will speak for you to the king." So Bathsheba went into King Solomon to speak to him for Adonijah. At once the king rose to meet her and bowed down to her. Then he sat down on his throne and had a throne set for the king's mother, so that she could sit at his right. She then said, "There is one small request that I am making of you. Do not turn me away." So the king said to her, "Make it, my mother, for I will not turn you away." She said, "Let Abishag the Shunammite be given as a wife to your brother Adonijah." At this, King Solomon answered his mother, "Why are you requesting Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah? You may as well request the kingship for him, for he is my older brother, and supporting him are Abiathar the priest and Joab the son of Zeruiah." Um, oh man, sorry. Oh, there we go. With that, King Solomon swore by Jehovah, "So may God do to me, add to it now, if it was not at the cost of his own life, that Adonijah made this request. And now, as surely as Jehovah is living, who has firmly established me and seated me on the throne of David, my father, and who made a house for me, just as he promised, Adonijah will be put to death today." King Solomon immediately sent Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, who went out and struck Adonijah down, and he died. To Abiathar the priest, the king said, "Go to your fields in Anathoth. You deserve to die. But on this day I will not put you to death because you carried the ark of the sovereign Lord Jehovah before David my father, and because you shared in all the hardships that my father suffered." Nice. Another 100 out. So Solomon drove Abiathar out from serving as the priest of Jehovah to fulfill Jehovah's word against the house of Eli in Shiloh. When news reached Joab, for Joab had supported Adonijah, but he had not supported Absalom, Joab fled to the tent of Jehovah and grabbed hold of the horns of the altar. Then King Solomon was told, Joab has fled to the tent of Jehovah, and he is there beside the altar. So Solomon sent Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, saying, Go, strike him down. So Benaiah went to the tent of Jehovah and said to him, This is what the king says, come out. But he said, No, I will die here. Benaiah brought word back to the king, This is what Joab says, and this is what he answered me. Then the king said to him, Do just as he has said, strike him down and bury him, and remove from me and from the house of my father the blood that Joab spilt without cause. Jehovah will bring back his blood back on his own head. For without his father David's knowledge, he struck down and killed with the sword 2 men more righteous and better than he was, Abner the son of Ner, the chief of the army of Israel, and Amasa the son of Jether, the chief of the army of Judah. Their blood will come back on the head of Joab and on the head of his offspring forever. But for David, his offspring, his house, and his throne, may there be peace from Jehovah forever. Then Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, went up and struck Joab down and put him to death, and he was buried at his own house in the wilderness. Then the king appointed Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, over the army in his place, and the king appointed Zadok, the priest, in his place of Abiathar. Then the king summoned Shimei and said to him, Build yourself a house in Jerusalem and live there. Do not go out from there to any other place. On the day you go out and cross the Kidron Valley, you can be sure that you will die. Your blood will be on your own head. Shimei replied to the king, What you have said is fair. Your servant will do just as my lord the king has said. So Shimei stayed in Jerusalem for many days. But at the end of 3 years, 2 of Shimei's slaves ran away to Achish, the son of Maacah, the king of Gath. When Shimei was told, Look, your slaves are in Gath, Shimei immediately saddled his donkey and went to see Achish in Gath to find his slaves. When Shimei returned from Gath with his slaves, Solomon was told, Shimei has gone out of Jerusalem to Gath and has returned. At that, Jehovah summoned Shimei and said to him, Did I not put you under oath by Jehovah and warn you? On the day you go out from here to any other place, you can be sure that you will die. And did you not say to me, What you are saying is fair, I will obey? Why then did you not keep the oath of Jehovah and the commandment that I imposed on you? The king then said to Shimei, You know in your heart all the injury that you did to David my father, and Jehovah will bring back that injury on your own head. But King Solomon will be blessed, and the throne of David will be firmly established before Jehovah forever. With that, the king commanded Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, who went out and struck him down, and he died. Thus the kingdom was firmly established in the hand of Solomon. 1 Kings 3. Solomon made a marriage alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt. He married Pharaoh's daughter and brought her to the city of David until he finished building his own house, the house of Jehovah, and the wall around Jerusalem. But the people were still sacrificing on the high places, because until that time a house for the name of Jehovah had not yet been built. Solomon continued to love Jehovah by walking in the statutes of David, his father, except that he was sacrificing and making offerings smoke on the high places. The king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the most prominent high place. Solomon offered 1,000 burnt sacrifices on that altar. In Gibeon, Jehovah appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, ask what you would like me to give you. At this Solomon said, You have shown great loyal love toward your servant David, my father, as he walked before you in faithfulness and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart. You have continued to show him this great loyal love down to this day by giving him a son to sit on his throne. And now, Jehovah my God, you have made your servant king in the place of David, my father, though I am just a youth and I am inexperienced. Your servant is among your people whom you have chosen, a people so vast that they cannot be numbered or counted. So grant your servant an obedient heart to judge your people, to discern between good and bad, for who is able to judge this numerous people of yours? It was pleasing to Jehovah that Solomon had requested this. God then said to him, Because you requested this, and you did not request for yourself long life or riches or the death of your enemies, but you requested understanding to hear judicial cases, I will do what you asked. I will give you a wise and understanding heart, so that just as there has never been anyone like you before, there will never be anyone like you again. Furthermore, what you have not requested, I will give you, both riches and glory, so that there will be no other king like you in your lifetime. And if you walk in my ways by keeping my regulations and my commandments, just as David your father walked, I will also give you a long life. When Solomon awoke and realized that it had been a dream, then he went to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of Jehovah and offered up burnt sacrifices and communion offerings and spread a feast for all his servants. At that time, two prostitutes came into the king and stood before him. The first woman said, "Please, my lord, this woman and I live in one house, and I gave birth while she was in the house. On the third day after I gave birth, this woman also gave birth. We were together, just the two of us. There was no one else with us in the house. During the night, this woman's son died because she lay on him. So she got up in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while your slave girl was asleep and laid him in her arms, and she laid her dead son in my arms. When I got up in the morning to nurse my son, I saw that he was dead. So I examined him closely in the morning and saw that it was not my son whom I had given birth to. But the other woman said, 'No, my son is the living one, and your son is the dead one.' But the first woman was saying, 'No, your son is the dead one, and my son is the living one.' That is how they argued before the king. Finally, the king said, 'This one says, this is my son, the living one, and your son is the dead one.' And that one says, 'No, your son is the dead one, and my son is the living one.' The king said, 'Bring me a sword.' So they brought a sword to the king. The king then said, 'Cut the living child in two, and give half to one woman and half to the other.' At once, the woman whose son was the living one pleaded with the king, for her compassions were stirred toward her son. She said, 'Please, my lord, you should give her the living child, by no means put him to death.' But the other woman was saying, 'He will be neither mine nor yours. Let them cut him in two.' At that the king answered, 'Give the living child to the first woman. By no means put him to death, for she is his mother.' So all Israel heard about the judgment that the king had handed down, and they were in awe of the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was with him to execute justice." Pause. All right, resume. 1 Kings 4. King Solomon ruled over all Israel. These were his high officials. Azariah, the son of Zadok, was the priest. Elihoreph and Ahijah, the sons of Shisha, were secretaries. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was the recorder. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was in charge of the army. Zadok and Abiathar were priests. Azariah, the son of Nathan, was over the deputies. Zabud, the son of Nathan, was a priest and the king's friend. Ahishar was over the household, and Adoniram, the son of Abida, was over those conscripted for forced labor. Solomon had 12 deputies in charge of all Israel who provided the king and his household with food. Each one was responsible for providing the food for 1 month of the year. These were their names: the son of Hur in the mountainous region of Ephraim, the son of Decher in Makaz, Shaalbim, Beth Shemesh, and Elon Beth Hanan, the son of Hesed in Araboth. He had Soko and all the land of Hefer, the son of Abinadab, and all the slopes of Dor. Solomon's daughter Tephath became his wife. Baana, the son of Ahilud in Taanach, Megiddo, and all of Bethshan, which is beside Zarathan below Jezreel, from Bethshan to Abel Meholah to the region of Jokmeam. The son of Geber in Ramoth Gilead. He had the tent villages of Jair in the son of Manasseh, which are in Gilead. He also had the region of Argob, which is in Basham, 60 large cities with walls of copper bars. Ahinadab, the son of Iddo, in Mahanaim. Ahimaaz in Naphtali. He took Basemath under another of Solomon's daughters as his wife. Baana, the son of Hushai, in Asher, and Baalath. Jehoshaphat, the son of Paroah, in Issachar. Shimei, the son of Elah in Benjamin, Geber, the son of Uri in the land of Gilead, the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and of Og, king of Bashan. There was also one deputy in charge of all these other deputies in the land. Judah and Israel were as numerous as the grains of sand by the sea. They were eating and drinking and rejoicing. Solomon ruled over all the kingdoms from the river to the land of the Philistines and to the boundary of Egypt. They brought tribute and served Solomon all the days of his life. Solomon's food for each day was 30 core measures of fine flour and 60 core measures of flour, 10 fattened cattle, 20 pastured cattle, and 100 sheep, besides some stags, gazelles, roebucks, and fattened cuckoos. For he controlled everything this side of the river, from Tifsa to Gaza, including all the kings on this side of the river, and he enjoyed peace in every region, all around him. Judah and Israel lived in security, everyone under his own vine and under his own fig tree, from Dan to Beersheba, all the days of Solomon. And Solomon had 4,000 stalls of horses for his chariots and 12,000 horses. These deputies supplied food to King Solomon and everyone who ate at the table of King Solomon. Each was responsible for his month and saw to it that nothing was lacking. They also brought barley and straw wherever it was needed for the horses and for the teams of horses, each according to his quota. And God gave Solomon wisdom and discernment in very great measure, and a broadness of heart, like the sand on the seashore. Solomon's wisdom surpassed the wisdom of all the people of the east and all wisdom of Egypt. He was wiser than any other man, wiser than Ethan, the Ezrahite, and Heman, Calcol, and Darda, the sons of Mahol. His fame spread among all the surrounding nations. He composed 3,000 proverbs, and his songs numbered 1,005. He would speak about the trees, from the cedar in Lebanon to the hyssop that grows on the wall. He would speak about the animals, the birds, the creeping things, and the fish. People from all the nations came to hear Solomon's wisdom, including kings from all over the earth who had heard about his wisdom. 1 Kings 5. When Hiram, the king of Tyre, heard that Solomon had been anointed as king in place of his father, he sent his servants to Solomon, for Hiram had always been a friend of David's. In turn, Solomon sent word to Hiram, "You well know that David my father was not able to build a house for the name of Jehovah his God, because of the wars waged against him from every side, until Jehovah put his enemies under the soles of his feet. But now Jehovah my God has given me rest on all sides. There is no one opposing me and nothing bad happening. So I intend to build a house for the name of Jehovah my God, just as Jehovah promised to David my father, saying, 'Your son, whom I will put on the throne in your place, he is the one who will build the house for my name. Now command your people to cut cedars of Lebanon for me. My servants will work with your servants, and I will pay the wages of your servants according to the rate you set. For you are aware, excuse me. For you are aware that not one of us knows how to cut trees like the Sidonians.' When Hiram heard Solomon's words, he rejoiced greatly and said, 'May Jehovah be praised today, for he has given David a wise son over his great people.' So Hiram sent word to Solomon, 'I have heard the message you sent to me. I will do all that you desire in providing the cedar and juniper timbers. My servants will bring them down from Lebanon to the sea, and I will make them into log rafts to go by sea to the place that you designate to me. I will have them broken up there, and you can carry them away. In exchange, you will provide the food that I request for my household.' So Hiram supplied all the timbers of cedar and juniper that Solomon desired, and Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 core measures of wheat as food supplies for his household, and gave 20 core measures of very fine olive oil. That was what Solomon gave Hiram year after year, and Jehovah gave Solomon wisdom just as he had promised him. And there was peace between Hiram and Solomon, and the two of them made a treaty. King Solomon conscripted men for forced labor out of all Israel. 30,000 men were conscripted. He would send them to Lebanon in shifts of 10,000 each month. They would spend a month in Lebanon and 2 months at their homes. And Adoniram was over those conscripted for forced labor. Solomon had 70,000 common laborers and 80,000 stonecutters in the mountains, as well as Solomon's 33,000 princely deputies who served as foremen to supervise the workmen. At the king's order, they quarried large stones, expensive stones, to lay the foundation of the house with hewn stones. So Solomon's builders and Hiram's builders and the Gibeonites did the cutting, and they prepared the timbers and the stones to build the house. 1 Kings 6. In the 480th year after the Israelites came out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year after Solomon became king over Israel in the month of Ziv, that is, the 2nd month, he began to build the house of Jehovah. The house that King Solomon built for Jehovah was 60 cubits long, 20 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. The porch in front of the temple was 20 cubits long, corresponding to the width of the house. Its depth was 10 cubits from the front of the house. He made windows of narrowing frames for the house. Further, he built a side structure against the wall of the house. It went around the walls of the house, those of the temple and the innermost room, and he made side chambers all around. The lowest level of the side chambers was 5 cubits wide. The middle level was 6 cubits wide, and the third level was 7 cubits wide, for he made offsets all around the house, so that nothing was attached to the walls of the house. The house was built with quarry stone that had already been prepared, so that no hammers or axes or any iron tools were heard in the house while it was being built. The entrance of the lowest side chamber was on the south side of the house, and a winding staircase led up to the middle floor, and from the middle floor up to the 3rd floor. He continued building the house and finished it, and covered the house with cedar beams and rows of cedar planks. He built the side chambers all around the house, each 5 cubits high, and they were joined to the house by cedar timbers. Meanwhile, the word of Jehovah came to Solomon, saying, Just for this house that you are building, if you walk in my statutes and carry out my judgments and observe all my commandments by walking in them, I will also carry out with you my promise that I made David your father, and I will reside in the midst of the Israelites, and I will not forsake my people Israel. Solomon continued building the house to finish it. He built the inside walls of the house with cedar boards. He paneled the inside walls with timber from the floor of the house up to the rafters of the ceiling, and he overlaid the floor of the house with juniper boards. And he built a section of 20 cubits at the rear of the house with cedar boards from the floor up to the rafters, and he built inside of it the innermost room, the most holy. Ouch. Okay. I don't remember where I was at, so I'm going to start at 19 again, or if I did again. And he prepared the innermost room inside the house, and there was an ark of the covenant of Jehovah. The innermost room was 20 cubits long, 20 cubits wide, 20 cubits high. As he overlaid it with pure gold, he overlaid the altar with cedar. Solomon overlaid the interior of the house with pure gold, and he stretched out gold chains. Okay, yeah, I don't remember reading this part. In front of the innermost room, which was overlaid with gold. He overlaid the whole house with gold until all the house was completed. He also overlaid with gold the entire altar near the innermost room. In the innermost room, he made 2 cherubs of pine wood, each 10 cubits high. One wing of the cherub measured 5 cubits, and the other wing was 5 cubits. From the tip of one wing to the tip of another wing was 10 cubits. The second cherub was also 10 cubits. The 2 cherubs had the same size and shape. The height of the one cherub was 10 cubits, as was that of the other cherub. Then he put the cherubs inside the inner house. The wings of the cherubs were extended so that the wing of the one cherub reached to one wall, and the wing of the other cherub reached to the other wall. And their wings extended toward the middle of the house, so that the wings touched. And he overlaid the cherubs with gold. And on all the walls of the house, all around both the inner and outer rooms, he carved figures of cherubs, palm trees, and flowers in bloom. He overlaid the floor of the house with gold in the inner and outer rooms. And for the entrance of the innermost rooms, he made doors of pine wood, side pillars, and doorposts as a 5th part. The 2 doors were of pine wood, and he carved on them cherubs, palm trees, and flowers in bloom, and he overlaid them with gold, and he hammered the gold down over the cherubs and the palm trees. For the entrance of the temple, that was how he made the doorposts of pine wood belonging to the 4th part. And then he made 2 doors of juniper wood. The one door had 2 leaves that turned on pivots, and the other door had 2 leaves it turned on pivots. He carved cherubs, palm trees, and flowers in bloom, and overlaid gold foil on the carvings. He built the inner courtyard with 3 rows of hewn stone and a row of cedar beams. In the 4th year, in the month of Ziv, the house of Jehovah had its foundation laid. And in the 11th year, in the month of Bul, that is, the 8th month, the house was finished in all its details and according to its plan. So he spent 7 years building it. And that is the end of King 6. AV, whatever it is.